Scene script. Have you ever wondered about the importance of the Panama Canal in global trade? This man-made marvel, stretching over 50 miles, serves as a vital artery in the world's economy. As a testament to its significance, the Panama Canal carries an astonishing 5% of the global maritime trade. That's right, 5% of all goods transported via sea pass through this narrow waterway. But its importance is even more pronounced for the United States. 40% of the nation's container traffic, everything from cars to clothes, food to furniture, sails through the canal. It's a bustling highway of commerce connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and by extension connecting markets, industries, and people across the globe. Now imagine the sheer volume of goods that traverse this channel every day. It's equivalent to the daily water usage of 500,000 Panamanians. That's a lot of trade and it's a lot of responsibility. This waterway doesn't just facilitate commerce, it shapes economies. Countries depend on its smooth operation to import necessary goods and export their products to international markets. It influences supply chains, affects shipping costs, and even plays a role in determining global commodity prices. In essence, the Panama Canal is more than just a conduit for ships. It's a lifeline for global trade, a crucial cog in the wheel of international commerce. Its influence extends far beyond its physical boundaries, impacting economies and livelihoods worldwide. But what happens when this lifeline is threatened by a natural disaster? In 2023, an extreme drought hit Panama, causing a significant disruption in the canal's operations. The rains that usually fed the canal's freshwater supply dwindled to a trickle, and the water levels in the man-made lakes that the canal depends on started to drop alarmingly. The canal, a lifeline for global trade, was suddenly struggling to stay afloat. Picture this. The canal's daily water usage is equivalent to that of 500,000 Panamanians. Now imagine that vast quantity of water rapidly evaporating under the relentless tropical sun. That was the harsh reality the Panama Canal was facing. This wasn't just a local issue. The Panama Canal is a global artery, carrying 5% of the world's maritime trade and 40% of U.S. container traffic. But with the drought, the canal's capacity was significantly reduced. The authorities had no choice but to limit the number of ships crossing each day. The usual 38 ships were cut down to a mere 24. This sudden reduction had a domino effect. Shipping costs started to rise and delays became the norm. Companies that depended on the canal for their supply chains found themselves in a difficult spot. Some were forced to seek alternative routes like the longer and more expensive Suez Canal. But the most concerning aspect of this drought was its unpredictability. The Panama Canal Authority could only hope that the rainy season, expected to start in late April or early May, would replenish their water levels. But what if the rains were late or didn't come at all? That was a question no one wanted to answer. The drought not only disrupted the canal's operations but also highlighted the vulnerability of global supply chains. It served as a stark reminder that our world, so interconnected and interdependent, can be shaken by something as simple as a lack of rain. As the drought continued, the effects became even more pronounced. The lifeblood of global trade, the Panama Canal, started to feel the squeeze. Reduced water levels meant fewer ships could pass through this vital artery of world commerce. From the usual 38 ships a day, the number plummeted to a mere 24. This decline in traffic wasn't just a minor inconvenience. It was a shockwave that rippled through the realm of international trade. Delays became the order of the day. Ships queued up, waiting for their turn to traverse the canal, and the waiting time wasn't measured in hours, but in days. This had a domino effect. Goods arrived late at their destinations, disrupting supply chains and throwing a wrench into the finely tuned machinery of global commerce. And of course, time is money. The longer a ship waits, the more it costs. Shipping companies found themselves grappling with increased costs, a burden that inevitably trickles down to the consumer. But the Panama Canal Authority wasn't just sitting idle. They swung into action, implementing a series of water conservation measures to make the most of the dwindling water resources. Canal restrictions were put in place, further limiting the number of ships that could pass through. But these were stopgap measures. band-aids on a wound that needed a more permanent solution. This whole situation painted a stark picture of how vulnerable our global supply chains are. One prolonged drought at a strategic location, and the world feels the pinch. It wasn't just about delayed shipments or increased costs. It was about the specter of inflation looming large, threatening to upset economic stability. The drought raised serious questions about the canal's long-term sustainability. It was a wake-up call, a reminder that nature's whims can have far-reaching implications. The Panama Canal, once a symbol of human triumph over nature, was now at the mercy of the very element it sought to tame: water. Today, the Panama Canal continues to grapple with the effects of the drought. The lifeline of global trade, this crucial passage has seen a significant reduction in ship traffic due to the persistent water scarcity. The once bustling canal now only allows a fraction of its usual traffic, a far cry from the typical 38 ships a day. Now it's down to just 24, a stark symbol of the canal's struggle. The Panama Canal Authority is not sitting idle. Amid this crisis, they are implementing water conservation measures to maintain the current vessel weight requirements. But these efforts are like a band-aid on a festering wound. The harsh reality is that the canal's water usage equals that of 500,000 Panamanians in a day. The scale of the problem is immense, and the solutions daunting. This drought and the resulting vessel reductions are not just Panama's problem. They have global implications. The Panama Canal is a major artery in the body of global trade. A blockage here sends shockwaves throughout the world. Delays in shipping containers to the US East Coast are already being felt, and shippers are having to make alternative plans like using the Suez Canal. The most impacted are the wet bulk and dry bulk vessels, and the repercussions are astounding. With the Panama Canal handling 40% of all US container traffic and moving approximately $270 billion in cargo annually, the impact of these disruptions is far-reaching. These issues come at a challenging time for shippers, with a freight recession and uncertain demand. The drought has raised concerns about the long-term sustainability of the canal, and the Panama Canal Authority is considering additional water-saving measures and the construction of a new reservoir. But the question remains, will these measures be enough, or will the rains fail us again? The future of the Panama Canal, and indeed global trade, hangs in the balance. The Panama Canal's drought crisis brings to light the precarious nature of our interconnected world. A vital artery in the body of global trade, the Panama Canal typically carries 5% of the world's maritime trade and 40% of US container traffic. Its significance can't be overstated. However, an extreme drought has led to a substantial reduction in shipping through this key channel. The low water levels have forced authorities to limit the number of ships crossing daily, causing delays and increasing shipping costs. This situation underscores the vulnerability of global supply chains and the impact of unexpected events on international trade. The onset of the drought, caused by a severe El Niño, highlights the very real and immediate effects of climate change. With droughts occurring more frequently, the long-term sustainability of the canal is in question. This crisis is not an isolated event, but a part of the broader global narrative of climate change and its effects on our world. The Panama Canal Authority has been forced to adapt, implementing water conservation measures and vessel reductions. They are also exploring the construction of a new reservoir and policies to reduce the canal's carbon footprint. However, these are stopgap measures. The pressing issue remains: the need for comprehensive global action to address climate change. As the crisis continues, the flow of trade is being disrupted, with shippers making alternative arrangements and the potential for inflation on the horizon. The most impacted are wet bulk and dry bulk vessels. This situation, coupled with a freight recession and uncertain demand, is challenging for shippers. Looking to the future, the fate of the Panama Canal is uncertain. If the rains do not come, we could see further reductions in traffic or adjustments in draft levels. This crisis underscores the urgent need for global action to mitigate the effects of climate change and tackle water scarcity. As we continue to face the challenges brought on by climate change, The fate of the Panama Canal serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities in our global systems.